Welcome to the Blazing Black Bolshevik podcast. This is episode 3, Misogyny. I'm your host, Tracy Jones. Grab a snack, grab a drink, grab some smoke. It's going to be a long one. Misogyny is becoming readily more apparent, especially as I age, and especially as it becomes predominant within the media. You will often hear comedians and politicians talk about the good old days where they could do whatever they wanted and yada yada yada. Dave Chappelle, Ben Shapiro, Trump, Ron DeSantis, all of your right-wing ideologues will all say that things were better in the past. People like me know this not to be true. Other people who are not, straight white men or just men in general will know that everything hasn't been sunshine and roses. However, they seek to put us back within these older times where misogyny ran rampant. You can see this in our abortion laws. You can see this in other countries as well. However, America will be the focus of today's podcast episode. And I will say that it's damaging as a young man to hear misogyny, especially as a person who was raised by a single mother and who had to deal with the effects of that. Like, the hatred towards women in this country is astounding and eye-opening as well, because many of the people that hate women. You will say, well, they screw with women, they talk with women, they have women friends, but talk to like a conservative, let's not say Republican, but conservative man, and what makes a woman or what makes a good wife, and they will describe to you a slave. Listen when I says this, cooks for me, cleans for me, does this, that, and the other. They're all service-based things. It doesn't factor in the love. They don't factor in the care. They don't factor in any of that. It's just whatever that you can do for them is what they care about. And I'm not going to throw men of different nationalities under the bus, but some are more predisposed to this than others. You can definitely tell within white America, because trust me, I've talked with white boys. I played rugby. I know the mindset, and lots of these men do not see women as humans. Like they're, when I say they don't see women as humans, they do not respect the ideas of women. They do not think women think rationally. They do not think women in general should make laws. They don't think women can work on the same playing field as men, or should for that matter. They are wrong, obviously. However, this is a predominant thought in America. I would say in some places, yes, some places are more liberal than not. But for the majority of men, and the majority of white men especially, they itch to go back into old times where all you needed to get a woman was $5 in your pocket. They want that, even though they say, well, I care about the moral fabric of America and we need men to guide it. Men have been ruling this country for the last 300 years. You think that they don't got their shit together? They know exactly what they're doing. They need an other. They need women to be oppressed, to not only have more capital, but to just dominate, remain the hegemon. You know what I mean? When I say hegemony, they need to remain the dominant class. And they can't do that without stepping on the necks of women. And they will use any means necessary to do this. They start with religion. In Christianity and in Islam, you have many different scriptures devoted to telling women how they are supposed to follow a man, what following a man looks like, how they will be rewarded for listening, and so on and so forth. They will use the carrot and the stick in religion. They will say, if you listen to a man, God will work for you. And I'm not quoting scriptures. That is not, you can go to other podcasts for that. And sources, you can, there's Google. So this is just my own thoughts and my own analysis of it. They'll be like, hey, you do this, you get that. God will reward you for your servitude of men. And that works nice for about 100 years. And that's when they start to use the stick. Oh, if you don't listen to men, then you will be thrown into an ever-loving pool of fire, or you will be raped 900 times. Like, there are scriptures out there that are fucking wild, and pastors often do not know how to, that's in the old book, or, well, we don't follow that scripture, but it's still in the book. And when people will start to become disillusioned with religion and other, means, ideologies which seek to oppress women, they will start to use laws. They will pass, like currently, the situation with Roe v. Wade is a politicized situation, but it's insane to me that they would not allow abortion. Trust me, babies aren't alive when they're 2 months in, or however. I'd have to look it up because it's not fresh on my mind. But babies aren't alive. You think those are heartbeats. They're not heartbeats. The heart is not even developed because they're smaller than my thumb. When it's smaller than my thumb, a heart does not exist within that body yet. Yet people will think that little clump of cells is alive and that it deserves more rights than a woman does. I can assure you it does not. It's foolish to think so. However, you will have people who hop on the internet with 200 cans of audacity and tell you that it does, and that women are evil, marauding murderers for wanting to abort a baby, which they know that they can't take care of. And would rather that baby suffer through a life of misery than just get aborted. Now, this works actually it doesn't work because back alley abortions, but it harms women. It shows women this is what you get for stepping out of line and not listening to men, and that is a beatdown. They will economically strangle women. You see how less maternity leave they get in America than compared to other countries. You see the pay rate, the pay gap. You'll see they'll justify it by saying competence, but really they do not want women working out. They want women to be subjugated by men. And when this doesn't work, then they will switch to femicide. They will to attackings, brutalizing a woman, If you've ever heard of corrective rape, that they will do these things, vile, vicious things, to get women to act right, to beat them into complacency, to R word them into complacency. I don't want to repeat it too often. But like this is codified in several religious texts. This is you don't have to, like, I don't have to show you the scriptures. You guys can go look in these, like, they're right there. It's obvious. They are very face off for their hatred towards women, because they're like, you can say that the Bible supports women all you want, or Islam supports women all you want, but when I see the texts that say like how a woman should be treated and blah blah blah, it and versus how a man should be treated when he acts up, two completely different things. Even the way women are treated in school, and that's a facet that I left out. Is like, even in the education system, boys can wear as short as shorts as they want. Like, they do not sexualize the body, and I guess that'll bring me into my next point. Misogyny is like, they will over hypersexualize a woman, never sexualize a man, yet women are in and of themselves not sexual. A woman will breastfeed, and people will lose their shit if a woman breastfeeds in public. But that baby is hungry. Why should a woman have to wait until she gets home to feed her baby? Right? These are things that are not like these right here. I can show my titties on camera if I wanted to, but a woman could not, even though they would look the same. So why is it when a woman does something, there's that double standard that we have, and that is another facet of misogyny, where a man can do something, but a woman can't. And if a woman does that thing that man does, that they are trying to be different. They are trying to be, be rebellious or tomboyish. You know what I mean? And really, we demonize femininity and then wonder why there are more lesbians and more tomboys. It's like we demonize femininity. People hate like high-pitched voices. Oh, like if you ever heard like people, oh, I hate the American accent of the California girls, or like people talk about girls from California. Like, no, you hate intelligent women. Like, California ranks within the top 10, I believe, of education. Be honest when you're talking about, like, you hate women who could speak and articulate themselves well. Like, any woman who can like speak well has gotten the pretentious or the vain argument used against them. It's like, it's very disingenuous, but it shows you like how these men and how misogynists work in general, because it's not just men, which I will get into. But they will use any excuse possible to justify the oppression for women, whether it's the women can't do good for themselves argument, or the it's better for them in the long run. They will say anything and do anything to justify themselves. And it's like, in today's America, women are expected to capitulate to these demands. Like, the feminist movement, I would say, really collapsed in the 1960s and then was thrown away during the 1970s and only recently started to emerge. So I consider myself a proletarian / socialist feminist. I don't believe in these concepts of allyship. It's either you are or you aren't. Like you like a feminist is a person who believes in equal rights. I don't, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. You can feel whatever type of way you want about it, but I am a feminist and I care about women and how they are viewed in society and how they are about any, like, I don't care about the outcry about that. You know what I mean? Women are oppressed within American society. Maybe not as much as they used to be. Maybe not as much as other people across the globe, but they are still oppressed. Now, I will admit, and this is not a oppression Olympics thing. This is just the truth. Black women, colored women in general, but black women are treated way worse than any other type of woman. And especially within the medical field, the amount of women who die during childbirth, black women who die during childbirth, is absolutely horrid, and that's due to medical racism and also sexism. Now, if you listen to black women when they say we are, doctors do not listen to them and will ask their husbands or, their fathers to go to the doctors with them. That is because there's the, first, men always believe themselves to be right. And it's like, if you've ever argued with somebody, the louder they are, like, I will use things. That was nasty as hell, wasn't it? I know. I nearly let out a burger. For anybody who listens to this on the audio, I nearly let out. I mean, I did let out a burger. But moving forward, I'll give you the example. Any woman can tell you, going to a mechanic, like how they will have to tell their father, like their fathers or brothers, any type of man in their life, to go to a mechanic with them, or go to the car shop, pick out a car, because like men, and like there's that, oh, women don't know what they want, women don't know what car they want, women don't know what they're doing, and even the type of swindling, you know what I mean, taking advantage of, it all falls back to misogyny. And it's like, it's insidious. It's very, like, it's worms its way all throughout our society and starts and crumbles it from the inside out. You know what I mean? It starts off small. It starts off with a few of your rights being taken away, till the point where you and then it ends with a woman in chains. If you, like, listen to these big name podcasters, Joe Rogan, Andrew Tate, I'm not sure if I spoke on them before, but like, these guys are like pure evil in the way that they talk and like joke about it. Like, they will joke, like there's legitimate like evil. Like, Andrew Tate was under investigation for sexual trafficking. Like, you can't tell me that there's there's a justification for that man not being arrested, because like that, and he straight up admitted that he moved to Romania for that. You can't make it up. And it's sickening. It's truly sickening as a man to hear half the stuff that these folks say about women, how they must be dominated. And like, you have to combat it. I feel like in my daily life, I listen to women more than I listen to men, only because I'm already around men who, I grew up with all the toxic masculinity. Like, so I grew up with toxic femininity too, but that is not what today's podcast is on, because when's the last time, I mean, there are men who suffer from women, But that's, like I said, that's a story for another time. Right now, especially within the political context of today, men are the dominant men are the dominant class, and the effects that men have on women is way more than the effect that women have on men. That's just the simple truth. The double standards, the femicide. There's like, you can see. I want to say specifically within America, there had like, if you look at even I want to say the 1920s textile workers, women being burned alive, children, just like if you could even add the aspect of children's liberation into it, because if men are oppressing women, then women are oppressing children in a sense as well. Everybody needs an other. And then, so men oppress women, women oppress children, and then those children oppress other children. They either fight their siblings or go and fight at school. So it's a cycle of oppression. So it's not just, women are not the only ones who are harmed under misogyny. And misogyny doesn't only, are not the only one, men aren't the only ones who do misogyny. But at the same time, they are the predominant ones. This is not absolving men of their crimes, but this is for people to get a better picture of, misogyny and how big and how pervasive it is in our society. Like, I think the whole master key, master lock, if you ever heard of that analogy, like, oh well, the difference between a man sleeping with a lot of women than a lot of women sleeping with, a woman sleeping with a lot of men is that, if a key gets into a lot of locks, that's good. You call that a master key. That could get into any lock. But a lock that can be opened up by any key, oh, that's bad. Like, no, that's not how it works, because shoot, trust me, your penis probably isn't as long as a key, and women's bodies are not locks. Horrible analogy, and stupid one as well. But this is something I've heard from a lot of men, and is stupid. Now, you can either accept this analogy and just be lazy and stupid about it, I'm sorry to say, or you can accept that there is a clear double standard for women. And if you accept that, then you also have to realize that and I guess to preface, this should have been a preface for this video, but you have to be a loving and caring human. If you care about women, if you care about your fellow human being, then you should want for them to not only be liberated economically, but sexually, and spiritually, emotionally. You should want women to feel safe, that they could talk to you about any subject. Because let's be honest, women do not tell men, the men in their lives, everything. A woman is more likely to tell a woman that they got raped than a man. Like, I know like, if you're above the age of 20, you probably got hurt. Probably got told a secret by a family member. Oh, back when I was 16, I got raped, or back this man did this, or why didn't you tell me? I would have killed him. I would have helped you. Well, you don't. But if all you tell your daughter is, if you get pregnant before the age of 20, you're a whore, or women do not do this and do that, and like, if men are not making it a prerogative of theirs to make women feel safe, then by that logic, women will not feel safe in your presence. And like, this is just the simple truth of the matter. I have friends who tell me lots of things because I make it clear that they can tell me anything, and that I will love them regardless. Um, I do not play when it comes to children and children's safety, one bit. I do not play when it comes to women's or men's safety. If any of my friends told me that they felt endangered, I would do my best to pull them out of a dangerous situation, even at risk of my own life, simply because I am that type of person. That being said, I realize not everybody has that same commitment and same dedication. However, all that I ask that you get out of this brief um, introduction into misogyny is that, women are under attack worldwide. In the Middle East, they are, oppressed. There are, up until several years ago in like several states, or at least in Saudi Arabia, let me say that, in at least Saudi Arabia, they could not drive. In Asia, most specifically India, there is femicide where, like, so women cannot conduct the funeral rites of their fathers. They cannot inherit the father's wealth. So they will, if they find out that they're having children, and this is not all, this is, I'm not trying to stereotype anybody, but this is something that happens, and it happens often enough to be reported on. Please don't get offended. But this, like, they will kill their female children, not after they're alive, but before, like, while they're in the womb. Even if it goes against their religion, ironically enough. But in Russia, domestic violence is pretty much legalized. They have come, like, went 200 years back after the fall of the Soviet Union. You have South America, more femicide. But this is more of a domestic battery, domestic violence. By it, like, if Mexico, they were recently protesting. Western Europe, they have acid attacks, they have stabbings, you have corrective rapes, you name it, they got it. Women are under attack worldwide, and if we as a collective, whether you consider yourself leftist or not, if you consider yourself a human being and you consider yourself a loving and caring human being, then you should realize that women need more positive men and more positive women and more positive people taking their issues seriously and learning about them on a global scale, and enacting policies and making organizations to better assist them in protecting themselves. You have people who go on live television stations who actively campaign against women's rights, and you have people who are currently enacting policies to prevent women from enjoying the same freedoms men do, and you have people who are actively exterminating women simply for either how they look or how they act. You have men who sit there and plot on how, bully women for how they talk, how they act, how they think, how they dress, what they do. Femininity is demonized. That if you ever hear how men attack the LGBTQ community for how they, are feminized, I have my own critiques on them. But that comes from a black AAVE perspective and a black culture argument, not anything to do with misogyny and hypermasculinity. which is another thing which like brutalizes and batters women. That hyper masculine and that really ultra conservative slash neo Nazi ideology of the ideal man. The hyper masculinity um, pretty much puts out that men have to be the savior of women, and if not for men, then women will degenerate and society will degenerate. But I've talked my butt off for about 30 minutes, and I know y'all are probably tired. I'll make a longer episode out of this if you guys require or if you wish, and I will take all your comments into consideration. Much love and good tidings. Peace out.